Congress, and this is with Republican support, is preparing to change the federal sentencing guidelines to permit massive release of inmates from federal prison. The concept is that the original federal sentencing guidelines that was set in place in 1986, interestingly enough on a bill co-sponsored by Ted Kennedy and Jesse Helms that passed unanimously, that those sentencing guidelines are too strict and resulted in too many people being in prison. You know, the experts have been scratching their heads trying to attribute the drop in crime to various sociological causes. I think we could just say there are now 2 million people in prison. There used to be 1 million people in prison, and the crime rate has dropped by more than half. Fairly simple reasoning. But Congress is now moving, largely impelled by the decrease in crime and the absence of outrage over crime, to cut the very sentencing guidelines that led to the reduction in crime. For example, the much heralded 3 strikes and you're out provision, which said that after 3 felonies you go away for a life sentence, is being changed. Now it's 3 strikes and you go away for 25 years. And the definition of a strike is being changed so that it does not include drug crimes unless they're involved with violence. The motive of all of this is to reduce the federal prison population, which makes sense, and to do justice to citizens, which, of course, we'd all like to do. I don't believe justice is achieved by cutting the sentences of people who are in jail for dealing serious drugs or for violent offenses. I do believe that one way to deal with the problem of overcrowding prisons and to achieve justice is to release those who are in prison only because of marijuana dealing. That is, no violence and no hard drugs. If someone's in jail for cocaine or crack or heroin or methamphetamines or whatever, I think leave them there and keep the long sentences. But if they're in jail for selling something that is now legal in 2 states, and medical marijuana is legal in a dozen states, and Oregon is fixing to be the 3rd state that would legalize the sale of pot, that's ridiculous. And 1 out of every 8 inmates in our federal prison system is there for a marijuana-based offense. Now, what I don't understand is why conservative Republicans, led by Senator Mike Lee of Utah, who usually is a reliable conservative, are going along with this sentencing bill. What we should do is to say we are not going to cut the sentences of anybody who is in there for violent felonies, but we will cut it for marijuana. Now, interestingly enough, this reduction in sentencing would not just be prospective, but may well be retroactive, which would mean they will simply open the doors and tens of thousands of inmates will leave. When you combine that with the massive immigration going on, with virtually no check from balance, and the sanctuary cities law that encourages people to come to cities, and the reduction of stop and frisk, and the Black Lives Matter disciplining the police force, fasten your seatbelts for a huge increase in crime, a problem that was solved that now will be unsolved. Thanks for watching.